I feel like some of the stuff is done on purpose just to get people like myself, to get people angered with each other. And I believe this is a time that we need to come together in unity, but we also need to realize that everything is not tolerable. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. This show is going to encourage, challenge, maybe even provoke you to step outside your comfort zone and take more action to better improve yourself and your health. I am your host, Mark Avens, and in this crazy upside-down world that keeps pushing a narrative for good people like you and me to become soft and weak and sick and unhealthy, and to be honest, just more dependent than ever, the goal and intent of this show is to help you navigate through it so that you can become braver today, not just braver today, but braver today than you were yesterday. Now, we do inside of the show, I do different types of shows. I do guest interviews, Brave Q&A. Today, we're going to be doing what's called Flavor of the Day, where I'll be discussing latest news on health and fitness, picking apart latest diet trends, workouts, fads, pills, potions, etc., and I'm going to break them down. Today, we're going to be a little bit controversial because there is a lot of talk, chit chat, and controversy over this Planet Fitness debacle, for a company that's claimed to be inclusive and committed to creating an inclusive environment. We're going to have a conversation about that and this big debacle, if you will, with Planet Fitness and the boycott that's going on. So let's touch base. It's going to be a quick episode. What do they say? Go woke, go broke. And that's kind of the census when you see big companies, billion-dollar companies really do. I'm just going to go right into it, do some stupid things. And before I get into the current controversy, I'll just share with you my experience I did have in the past. I've had pretty much gym memberships all across LA, Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym, World's Gym, YMCA, all those types of things. And I want to encourage you now, where it comes to your time and your dollars and where you share them and when you choose to work out. Lots of options out there. At one point in time, I remember Planet Fitness. I wasn't really too keen on Planet Fitness. They opened up I think their franchise opened after we had a small mom and pop gym. We didn't have any in the area per se, but they were starting to move in. And I remember it was one of the challenges, a $10 a month gym, right? And I know there's a couple of them out there that are really like your box type gyms that are just your lower end, kind of get in the door, $10 for a month membership. And again, not to knock it, because you know what? They had plenty of equipment. They had some classes. They even had personal trainers. I'll just share with you my experience in Planet Fitness before we go into the boycott that's been going on right now. And I'll give you my honest opinion about that. So I actually joined, I remember $10 a month. I remember the weights. I think the dumbbells only went up to about 50 pounds. So that was kind of a bummer. They did have some functional stuff. Ultimately the gym was nice and new and clean. They have plenty of equipment. They're open all the time. I think 24 hours. I'm not sure if they are still open. They also even had like the massage table or the massage beds, like the water massage beds. And they had tanning booths, those type of things. You could get like a black membership. You could bring a guest in, so forth, so on. And ultimately, like I would say, is it wasn't bad. It was fine. Really didn't think too much about that. But I can tell you, I remember one of the things that really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. They talked about being inclusive and then no judgments. However, there's lots of judgments that they have. And one of them is you couldn't throw weights down. You couldn't grunt. They had a thing called, if you remember, called a lunk alarm. And that was something that an alarm would go off if you made a noise in the gym. If you were actually pushing some weight hard, that alarm would go off and you weren't essentially allowed to make loud noises in the gym. So while they're on the front end saying, well, we have no judgments, well, they're going to just judge people that want to work out really hard. And I'll just admit, I don't like when guys are grunting and groaning and making loud noises, but if you're working out hard and you have a hard set and you drop the weights down, again, so they do have judgment. It's just kind of on their terms. So it's really interesting that this is coming up now, something that seems to be no judgments, but we're going to judge women who actually want to be safe in a locker room, right? So that's kind of the controversy, but that was interesting in there. I remember too, with the trainers, I wasn't too impressed seeing what the trainers look like, being a trainer and working in the profession as a trainer for, almost 30 years now. When you look at a trainer, you're expecting to see somebody that's in relatively good shape. And of course, there's no judgment. So your trainer can look anything. They can have 50 extra pounds on their weight. If they have a trainer shirt, they can still be a trainer. This is kind of funny. I remember one time where young girl, and she was she was thin. I don't know what kind of shape she was in, but she was training a woman who was probably 20 years older than her. And she finished training her. And I was kind of like observing from the side while I was working out. And I remember seeing her go outside, literally right outside of the gym, and start vaping. And I was thinking, what a great advocate of health. She was essentially smoking up right after her workout session, her training session with her client that she had. Now, again, it is what it is. It's not my business, so I didn't get to dictate. But I guess now it's coming full tilt into this controversy. So let's talk about that. The boycott. Apparently, just a few days ago, and again, when I say go woke, go broke, let's talk about what happened. So really what happened, this woman, and this is in Alaska, a woman's membership, biological female's woman's membership was revoked because she took pictures of a transgender woman, which is biologically a male, shaving in the women's locker room. So this is an open locker room, women's locker room, and there was a biological male that was in there shaving. And I don't know about you, and I'll just say, as a grown man and a husband and a parent of a daughter, like, I am not okay with that. I'm just simply not okay with it. Now, I have no problem. Transgender, whatever you want to be, doesn't matter to me. That's fine. What you want to do. But when it comes to in a public space, when it comes to something like a private bathroom inside of a gym, I am not okay with that. I really am not. It makes me think back in, when I was in school and how much trouble. Now, being a guy in high school, I remember the cardinal rule is you can't go into the women's locker room. And I remember how much trouble they shared if you went into the women's locker room, right? Like, that was just a no-no. And whatever happened to that in this world we're living in? But anyway, so this woman that was a member, she not only saw this man in the women's locker room shaving, she took a picture of it. And then there was also some young girls in there, and this guy was changing and shaving and doing whatever in this locker room. Now, of course, this kind of controversy has come up in other places, but in a gym, this is something new. What's kind of crazy to me is that Planet Fitness is standing behind their motto of there's no judgments, but they do judge, right? They're judging for the female that's in the bathroom trying to have a safe place. They're judging them for wanting to have a safe place, which is just it just doesn't make sense to me. So, the old saying, like I'd said already, go woke, go broke. It is truly happening. $400 million, allegedly. There was a $400 million dive in valuation. Planet Fitness is you probably have one, near you, or multiple near in the city you live in. But they went from a allegedly $5.3 billion company to a $4.9 billion. This is just days after. And the reason why is not because the woman took the pictures, because they revoked this woman's membership, biological female's membership, because she took a picture and had a problem with a transgender woman changing in the bathroom. Now, I don't know any sane, normal human being that would not have a problem with that. Like, if you do, then you probably have a problem yourself. And I'll just have to admit that. But allowing men in females' locker rooms, in my opinion, is just not right. And then banning the woman for exposing it, like, that is just adding gasoline to the fire. So, you know what? They get what they get. Unfortunately, Planet Fitness is probably going to go downhill from here. I'm sure this is not the only time we're going to hear this in the near future. In fact, it seems to be coming up. They're getting the Bud Light treatment right now. I will say, this is the sad part of this, is the good people, honest, hardworking people that work for Planet Fitness, the trainers and the front staff. It's going to hurt them. They're going to close a lot of their stores or their gyms. And there's people that didn't get a choice whether or not. And I would imagine if you were to talk to the majority of people who work at Planet Fitness, they would probably, I'll be speculating here, but I would say is they will probably be not okay with that either. If you're a parent like me, I can tell you, I would not be okay. In fact, it probably would be my demise. I maybe would go to prison, because I would have a very hard time if I had a young daughter going to a Planet Fitness, trying to get in better shape, trying to build. Think about the confidence that it takes for some people to get to a gym, let alone work out and be consistent at gym, then to go in a locker room after and, looking at your body in the mirror and then you're seeing a dude shaving next to you in that. That's not okay with me. Again, call me, having some traditional values and some conservative values, if you will. And I believe that if you're a man, whether you change dress, cross dress, if you're a man, you should be changing in a men's locker room. Biological female, you should be changing in a female locker room. That's it. Until the gyms that maybe make a locker room for whatever you want to be and anything goes. Maybe they need to make a third locker room, a third space, a third bathroom that has that. And then anything can go in there. But again, I don't think that's going to go well either. So really interesting. Elon Musk mentioned Planet Fitness sounds like a creepy place. That was his quote recently. And I'll tell you what, I'll have to agree with him there. There's things that are going on in this space, in this time that we're living in. And it just is just like he said, it's creepy. Now, I don't know about you, but this has to stop. And the only way that's going to stop are people like you that are not going to tolerate. You're going to have to speak up. You're going to have to share. If you notice in a gym, if you're in a locker room and you see something that's not quite right, if you see something that you are uncomfortable with, you should speak up. In fact, that's the problem right now. Not enough people, myself included, that haven't spoken up about stuff like this. But I'm going to tell you right now, if my wife came home and she told me there was a guy, changing or shaving in the women's locker room, that would be the last day of that gym. So yeah, I mean, the truth is go woke, go broke. I heard actually recently, it was just a day ago, I was looking into this. Allegedly, there's 350,000 members that canceled their membership. So there's a few gyms that are probably licking their chops right now saying, you know what? Come over here. We have a safe space for you to work out. We have a safe space for you to change in the locker room. You're not going to have to worry about creepy men dressed like girls or, creepy individuals of the other gender in a different bathroom. I just don't get it. I don't know. Maybe you can share and enlighten me a little bit on that, but maybe call me old fashioned. I believe there needs to be some more old fashioned in this world. I'll tell you what. If you're a business out there and you're thinking about doing something like this or allowing something like this, you might want to think again. You might want to restructure how you market yourself and your place. And maybe there's people behind the scenes that are paying these big companies, or maybe they're actually saying, hey, you know what? We need to cause a little stir up. I feel like some of the stuff is done on purpose just to get people like myself, to get people angered with each other. And I believe this is a time that we need to come together in unity. But we also need to realize that everything is not tolerable. I just have to say that. What's crazy is this woman, her name is Patricia Silva. Her membership was revoked. And I'll tell you what, she to me is a hero for standing up against this. And women, listen up. I believe it's time that if you haven't yet, you need to stand up for your rights. In this day and age, I believe women they're being brought down to the lowest level possible by basically men and women's sports and in changing rooms and all the stuff that's just happening now. And everybody's saying, oh, well, you're a bigot, you're racist, you're a homophobe and all that stuff. And I would say is nothing could be further from the truth. It is so far off base. I believe anybody, you could do what you want, be what you want, live how you live. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to a business, you need to think about what you're doing and putting others in jeopardy and in danger in that sense. And this whole kind of cancel culture and woke, the truth is you go woke and the bottom line is you're going to go broke. Listen, I'd love to hear what you think on this episode. This was a quick one. This is just a quick flavor of the day. I just was sharing with you, just had enough. I'm kind of I don't know about you, but I'm just sick and tired of hearing this kind of nonsense. And a Planet Fitness, you better get your act together or you're not going to be anywhere on this planet anymore. Anyway, take care. God bless. Talk to you soon.